The search for the worst continues. Today on the search for the worst, Jurassic Island. Jurassic Island is the worst thing in the history of anything ever. Not only is the acting bad, but the premise of the movie is also terrible. Where it's set on an island where dinosaurs did not die. It sounds like a good idea, except for the fact that the movie is fucking awful. The director of the movie, from which I could find, has only done 2 films, this and Blood on the Water. 2 awful films which no one has ever heard of. There's a terrible opening, then there's a dramatic cut to the island where 2 people are running, and the camera angles are terrible. Then it is shown that the man which they are running from looks like a zombie, but the makeup looks awful, and the acting is also terrible. Then a CG T-Rex appears and it looks awful, and then they run away. And then the T-Rex appears and bites the camera, and an even worse title card than Birdemic appears. I mean, it's so cheap, it's unbelievable. Is this made in CapCut or something? We'll meet the main character, a woman, and her dad is the man on the island. It then cuts to her boyfriend, and a friend talking. Yeah, I don't know any of the names, but it doesn't matter. They're talking about some science stuff, and it's unbelievably boring. The dialogue is boring, and no one seems to know what to do. It is clear that they're reading off a script. Then a pointless flashback happens of a man running from a T-Rex for some reason. They find they find out. They ask her friend if she wants to come to the island. She agrees if she can bring her friend, and she does. As you can tell, it's just boring, and things are happening with no purpose. It's so boring, it's unreal. And then the girl visits some old guy which warns her about the island, but she ignores him. So she pays some random sailor £100 to take him to the island. They travel to the island and have some more terrible good dialogue while on the boat. They then arrive and see a Triceratops and have the most unrealistic reactions to seeing the Triceratops ever. I mean, they're not shocked at all. They just record the thing. The sailor gets bitten by some leech or something. They see a T-Rex open, and she conveniently finds her dad's bag. And they just walk around for ages. You see, it was just a bunch of boring events when nothing happens. This is around 30 minutes in and nothing has happened. The runtime is only an hour and 18 minutes and nothing has happened yet. Then the sailor becomes a zombie because of the leech bite earlier and attacks a friend. But she was able to run to the main girl, which somehow has a knife, stabs him and kills him. Then there's a pointless scene where a boyfriend explains why he agreed to come to the island after his dad died. There's no emotion in saying it, how his dad died. Then, exactly 43:34 minutes in, the main character finally sees a T-Rex, and it's the stupidest CGI in a movie ever. And the CG T-Rex approaches them, but she throws some meat in the water and it leaves them. Then the man no one cares about gets bitten by a leech and becomes a zombie, which tries to attack a friend, but then the CGI Velociraptor attacks the zombie and kills him. But it's so bad that you can see the Velociraptor is literally edited in afterwards. It's that awful that you can see it where it's been edited in, and all there is a blood splash. I mean, it's so terrible. You can literally tell that it's been edited in afterwards in the back. And then the Velociraptor just sods off, and the woman runs off. Then, for no fucking reason at all, it cuts to the woman and their boyfriend finding the zombie from the start of the movie. Which for no reason at all, instead of the fact that the movie has to happen and something has to happen, she kills him. For no reason. And then it turns out that for some fucking reason, no other fact that they have to drag out this movie for longer than it needs to be, they left the resources and evidence that these dinosaurs do actually fucking exist at camp. Which is back at the fucking beach. So the boyfriend goes and collects it, and conveniently the T-Rex is there. But then he hides and the T-Rex then sods off. The girl finds Lindsay, whoever Lindsay is, which is the woman at the start of the movie, which I didn't know because I skipped it because it was fucking boring. And then the T-Rex approaches again, but then just walks off for no apparent reason because it sees a pterodactyl in the sky. The boyfriend returns with the fucking stuff. And then the main character, which I don't even know the name of, finds out that her dad became a zombie. And for no reason at all, Lindsay, the cunt which she's talking to, then randomly turns into a zombie. Must have got bitten by one of them leech things, but it isn't even shown. She literally just turns into a zombie for no apparent reason other than the fact that there's got to be some more action or it's boring. And they've got to drag it out for an hour, so it gets to an hour so it can be classified as a movie. And then her dad attacks her boyfriend. Her friend runs off after her dad, after the main character's dad attacks the main character's boyfriend. And then the worst CGI pterodactyl ever seen in a movie ever attacks them and kills her friend. And it is the worst thing you've ever seen in a movie, literally ever. The pterodactyl is worse than the velociraptor, and you can see where it's been edited in afterwards. It is so awful. It is worse. It may be worse than the birds in Birdemic, and I did not think this was possible. Literally. And then a boyfriend kills a dad with a knife, which he apparently had the whole time, and runs off. They find each other, and then a boyfriend was bitten by a leech, conveniently, meaning that he will turn into a zombie. But then, oh no, apparently he doesn't, and he's now resisting the leech's power to turn into a zombie because he loves her through the power of love. Because that bullshit excuse. And then, in the most dramatic scene ever, the T-Rex appears, and the man runs to the T-Rex because he knew he was going to die as a zombie anyway, so that she could escape. In the worst scene ever seen in a movie ever, the T-Rex kills him while she escapes on the boat. She goes home and there's a leech in her bathroom which she must have brought home with her on the fucking boat. And the movie ends. To be honest, you should just be glad that I had to sit through an hour and 18 minutes of this absolute rubbish so that you didn't have to. In terms of the actual movie, the acting is awful. The CG is just all over the place, and you can tell that the deaths on screen have just been edited in afterwards. The dinosaurs have just been edited in afterwards. Clearly the worst CG in a movie I've ever seen. Not as bad as Birdemic, because nothing is at that level. But honest to God, where does this come in the actual tier list for these movies? We've only done 3, so I'd say, yeah, it's not as bad as Birdemic, but it definitely is not as good as The Kid Who Would Be King. So, yeah, there's the list. Yeah. And up next on the search for the worst, you have got to be kidding me. Well, Aquasplash next. Hope you guys enjoyed because I had to sit through these shit movies so you don't have to. Subscribe.